Okay, so very welcome to everybody. Nice to see you all. Very good to see everybody. Um, some very important things to discuss today. This is typically the premium group webinar, kind of wrap up the week. What did we learn? What have we seen? What did the markets do for us this week? um, and I'm shifting the focus this week only, and I know I did last Friday as well, to kind of show you the robot. And this week, I want to tell everybody that the robot is ready to go. It's mostly ready to go. The robot's totally ready. What I have struggled with, I'll be honest, this week is giving you guys lots and lots of good recommendations and suggestions for VPSs. Because there's so many out there. Darn it, I'm just going to post about 5 links, and you guys can choose and go where you want. And we're open for suggestions and all of that. So the robot's ready to go, but we do need to be running it on a VPS. So we'll talk about that as we go. Okay, so before we talk about the robot, this week was just a very. I was trading the robot on just a ton of pairs, right? Just tons of pairs. I had so many darn trades going this week. I almost couldn't keep track of them, but I didn't really have to, which was the great thing. The robot was keeping track of them for me, which was awesome. I was just running everything on the VPS, and the robot was just doing its work. So it was really exciting. It was great to kind of see the different, I've done a lot of testing to kind of narrow it down to best time frames that I like to trade on the most, and ideal kind of stop losses that we want to use, and the times that we should have it on buy only and on sell only and on buy and sell and all of that stuff. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty exciting. I think that we have some really awesome stuff in the works. So it's going to be just, a really good experience for us. But this robot, as I mentioned in the beginning, guys, and as I think we're all pretty aware of, this robot's not just a set and forget, right? Just turn it on and we don't have to know how to trade anymore, right? That is just so absolutely far from what this is, right? This is a robot for helping us do what we know we should do, right? That's what we're looking for. We're trying to find something that can help us do a better job at what we would be doing anyway. So it's not something to take our place. It's not something to take human interaction place. This robot needs to be watched on a daily basis. It needs to be managed. We need to, one of the great things about this robot that I've seen on so many is this one doesn't get out of control, right? I've seen so many that all of a sudden you're in 50 trades. You don't know why. You can't tell. There's no clear reason, none of that. This beautifully stays very far away from that. But it does need to be set in the right times, in the right conditions, in the right setups. And that's why we have this trade group. So again, the robot is here to help us do something better that we could actually be doing ourselves. This doesn't do anything that we can't do ourselves. It's just if we did everything the robot was doing, we'd have to have 1 million alerts set. We'd have to be at our charts 24 hours a day, and that's not very fun. So why the heck not use some technology to make this process a lot easier, a lot more streamlined, and more consistent, right? Guess what this robot does when a trade starts to go bad? It closes it out. I don't like to do that. I like to let a trade run as long as it needs to. The robot doesn't. Now, keep in mind, in the trade group, we're not going to use the robot for every single trade, but we're going to use it for a large majority of the trades. We're not going to, totally abandon our manual entries, our longer term trades, some of the different things that we're looking for. We're going to, use this to complement our trade style and our trade ideas. That's going to be really, really great, and I'm excited for it to get it all going. JP, sorry, I just saw your comment about construction. I actually worked construction at 14 as well during the summer, and that's a rough gig. It's a rough gig. It'll put some hair on your chest, though, that's for sure. Yes, time to increase the tool budget. Okay, so regarding this robot, guys, I am interested and open to hear suggestions as we go, right? As we go and as we kind of see what's going on and how this is working. If there's things that pop up that you say, you know what? I'd love to see this feature. This feature sounds awesome. This feature sounds like it would be really, really great. Let's talk about it, because we can add a lot of great things onto this. It takes testing and it takes time and it takes some of that, but there's definitely a lot that we can do. There's a lot of features and functions that we'll add as we go. Um, and it'll be awesome. I think it'll be awesome. I think it'll be a really good experience, kind of working with this and molding this thing as it's set up, and as this robot is made to be right now. Again, it's an assistant, it's an aid, it's our little buddy, it's our little helper to help us catch trades that are happening maybe in the middle of the night, trades that are happening at times of days that we just cannot be at the charts. I have tried many times in my past life to stay up all night and trade, and it was actually not even okay when I was 20. I was still miserable doing it because I'm not a night person. I got to sleep at night. So this robot doesn't need to sleep at night. It can be awake. It can be doing its thing while we snooze away. So that's such a great benefit here. There's so many movements and trades happening in the UK sessions that I just have to miss so very often because there's just no way I can stay up all night. I can't do it. So anyway, the robot's going to be a great tool for that. It's going to be a great tool for just managing our trades and doing everything that we need it to do. So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for you guys. Was anybody not here last Friday? I think it was last Friday. Last Friday I did the demonstration of kind of how the robot works and what it does and what it should be doing and all of that stuff. Was anybody not here for that? Anybody miss that? Did anybody? I mean, the webinar recording was available, so hopefully everybody kind of at least has a good idea of what this does. So we'll have another peek at it. I'll show you a few more things, and we've got lots of videos on how the robot can work and what it should do and so on. Good, Vince. Okay, you watched the recording. Excelente. Very good. Very good. I've made some more videos. I think it's going to be just a really good thing here. Les, good to see you, my friend. Coming all the way from Australia as well. Boy, we got the Australian crew in here today, which is really good. As I was just saying, I don't like staying up all night, and you guys, you poor folks, have to listen to this. Darn it. But that's okay, because again, trades, they can be set, they can be put on, and so on. So, so one thing that we'll be doing in the group with the robot now is, I like to post trade ideas and details kind of before I go to bed at night, right? Here's something to watch for those that are trading this. With the robot, we're going to be able to just set that, right? Turn it on to this currency pair, buy only, sell only. See you guys in the morning, right? Which is going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Good, Chris. Caught the recording. Excellent. So again, here's a little bit of how this is going to work. I'll just give you guys. I know many of you guys saw this. Many of you guys have kind of looked at this and seen it. So we won't spend too much time on this, but just kind of a little reminder of what it does, how it works, and so on. It's pretty easy to set up. It's got a lot of different features and functions on it. Most of the time, we're going to use just a couple of them because it's pretty straightforward. It works really well on just kind of some basic settings, and it does an awesome job. So if you look at it, it looks a little bit like this, right? So we have, well, let's see here. Why don't we, instead of that one, let's look at this for just a moment. Just a moment. So that's how we'll open it up. It'll look like this. And we've got a couple of tabs in here, right? About, common, input. That's it. So the abouts, obviously who we are, all the details there. Devender doesn't have any audio. Darn it. Well, we'll have to get that. Let's get that setting going. Sorry, Devender. Dang it. So, and I think think we're missing audio on a few there. Hold on here. There we go. All right. Hopefully that is, hopefully that kind of helps the process out. I think they just haven't clicked on the join with computer audio yet. Okay, guys. So yeah, so it's going to look a little bit like this. We're just going to allow it to take some live trading, allow it to modify some signals, some of that stuff. So this is going to be an important page again where we say, hey, this is a volatile pair that's in the middle of a channel. We think it could break out either way. Fine. Let's let it trade long and short. Or, we have a very bearish bias on whatever it is we're looking at that's pulling back. Excuse me, only sell this. Or a very bullish outlook, only buy this, right? That's where we'll select that. So that's great. And then over here, again, we talked about this last week. I'm not going to spend a ton of time going through this because it's all in. It is all in the video. Rob, I think you have an important comment here. Oanda VPS won't allow DLL imports. Okay, that's interesting. I did not know that. So, and that's where we might need to do a little finagling with the VPS side of things. So yes, we'll talk about that. But just real quick, guys, most of these default settings here, and I've got a video, I've got a longer video that talks about these settings and so on in the members area. For the robot itself, right? So in the members area, there's some videos talking about these settings, and there's a lot more detail there. But basically, what we're going to be looking at here is is trade size, right? We're pretty much always going to be on this fixed lot, so we just have to determine what size we want to start with, right? Now, with this robot, by the way, I recommend everybody start on a demo account or start with a 0.01. Just get familiar with how this works, right? We're going to do more webinars on this. There's more videos on this. This webinar will be recorded and posted in the members area there. So there's going to be webinars that you can kind of review this with. But the settings are quite easy. There's nothing too crazy to work with here. But start on a demo account for sure. If you refuse to start on a demo account, which I understand, just start with a 0.01, 10 cents a pip. So that's what we're going to be looking at, number one, right? Fixed lot size. Yes, we want to have a look at that. Maximum trades. We're just going to have one trade running at a time. So that's it, just one trade running at a time. Add after loss. Yes. So if we have a loss, number of losses, again, probably 10, somewhere in there. So we'll let this continue to increase the trade size every time there's a loss. And this is how much we're going to increase the trade size with. So everybody, I would want everybody to start, again, on a demo account or on a 0.01 trade size. And then you just increase by 10 cents a pip. If you get, your first trade's 10 cents a pip. If it doesn't work and it gets stopped out, your next trade is going to add 10 cents. So then you'll be in at 20 cents a pip and 30 cents a pip and 40 cents a pip and so on. And after 10 trades, this won't reset that count for 10 trades. After 10 trades, you're going to be in $1 a pip, a mini lot, right? Pretty low risk. So those are kind of the main settings we're going to be looking at, right? What size we start with, how many trades we let be losses before that adding to a losing position is reset. Again, we're probably going to be somewhere in the 10 range usually. And we'll just, talk about how much we're going to increase after each loss. So there you go. There you have it. I like being conservative. You guys know I'm a conservative person. So start with small sizes and definitely work with increasing those trade sizes on small amounts after every loss. So pretty simple, pretty simple. Again, in the video, I talk a lot more about this. We talked a lot more about this last week, but I don't want to go through every setting. Close on reversal confirmation. If you get a trade and it's starting to, we get into a trade and it's bullish, and then we start getting moving averages crossing the other way, this could close on reversal and limit that stop loss a little bit. But usually we're going to leave that at false. We'll talk about times that we change that and we don't go on false on that. Trailing stop type, we've got features here. Just make it, fractals, dynamic trailing stop, whatever. We like the MA trailing stop. We also like just our regular stop being beyond a moving average. So when we talk about that, when we say moving average stop, that's going to be this button right here. So when we get into a trade on, say, a 15-minute chart, and we say we're going to use a moving average trailing stop, how many pips do we want to be on the moving average? 20, 30, 40, 50? We have 50 as default here, but there's going to be cases where we say, hey, we only need 25 or 30 pips above the trailing stop, or below the above or below the moving average. So that's going to be our 200 moving average. It's going to have that stop loss above or below. And then we're going to be looking at risk to reward ratio, right? How much do we want to risk versus how much we're going to make? And our risk to reward ratio, we want to leave it at 2 to 1 as much as possible, right? Meaning if we get into a trade and with the moving average and the number of pips above or below that moving average, that stop loss turns out to be 60 pips, then this will automatically be looking for a 120 pip profit target. So just a little detail to look at there. And then, what time frame we want this to happen on, we can just leave this as at current and set this up on whatever time frame we see the setup happening, right? And where, obviously I'll be recommending to have happen in the group. So those are a lot of the features. Remember, we have this right here again. It's talked about in the video, but if we say, hey, I don't want this to be taking trades, during the quiet time of day, right? The quiet time of day is kind of, the U.S. market's closed, the Asian markets are closed, the European markets are closed, nothing's open. Not a great time to have this thing trying to, find some movement, find some direction. Because remember, this robot, just like any kind of trading, relies on the market moving. If the market's not moving, like happens in the middle of the day, we can get chopped around in a lot of trades, right? And we don't want to get chopped around in a lot of trades. And so ideally, if we can turn the robot on and have it running during U.S. and European market hours where things are moving a bit more, that's going to be great because that's where we've got more movement and more activity. And typically we're going to not be stuck in that sideways stuff during those trading hours. So that's something that this has set in, which is a great little feature there. So if we want to have that trading window, if we want to have this, managing our open trades but not taking new trades, we would just set that to true, right? We'd say, yep, don't take trades, start and stop at these hours, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, start and stop at those hours. Or if you say, you know what, I'm just going to manage this on my own, I'll just know when I want to turn it on and when I want to turn it off. You can just leave that at false. Rick, yes, for that reason. Yep. So if you want this to not take trades during the middle of the day, for example, find out what your broker time is and just put those in here. Times that you don't want it to take trades, it'll continue to manage your open trades, but it won't take new trades. Or if you just say, I don't want to mess with that, leave it at false. Okay, so just a little super quick recap on that, guys. Pretty easy, right? We're just going to say, what size do I want to start with? How many trades do I want to let this stop out before that trade size increase resets? What do I want that increased size to be after every stop out? So those things are 3 things we just need to look at every time. And then basically, how many pips above or below the moving average do I want my stop loss to be? That's essentially everything that we need to do to set this up. So we're going to open this up, say, you know what, I want this trade size to be 0.05, 0.1, 1.0, whatever it is. I want this to, I'll give it 10 trades to potentially stop out before it resets that increased size. How much do I want to increase each stop out, right? And my stop loss, which is my trailing stop and also my my regular stop of once I get into the trade. That's it. That's really all we have to do. We set this thing, we let it run, we let it handle its business, and it goes crazy. It does awesome for us. So that is, those are kind of the main features there, right? We've talked about a lot of different scenarios. We've looked at this thing running tests and doing a lot of stuff. I would recommend, guys, some of you might say to yourself, guess what? I want to try to manage this thing and let it run maybe a little bit longer. Maybe I want to let it run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And others, might say, hey, I'm gonna just turn this on and watch it trade. And if I'm not watching it, it's not trading, kind of a thing, which is okay. All these things would are fine, but you can run some tests yourself. You can look at this on the strategy tester. You'll see, you can do all of that on the strategy tester right over here. That's going to allow you to, put the robot in there and just pick some time frames, what you want to trade it on. You can adjust all the settings, right? Do I want it buy or sell only? How do I want this to work? How do I want this to behave? And it does, some great stuff. So it's really cool. Okay, questions, comments. What do we got? John, would we necessarily increase trade size after loss? I think that that's one of the best features, honestly. Increasing that trade size after a loss. Now, it doesn't have to be a big increase, right? If you are trading $1 a pip, and you say, you know what, my first trade size is $1 a pip, right? And I'm just going to increase this a little bit, right? You can say, well, I'm going to increase it maybe just 20 cents a pip, right? Every time it takes a loss. So my first trade is $1 a pip. My next trade's $1.20. Next trade's $1.40. Next trade's $1.60. The reason that is so super powerful is because each larger trade size we get makes our win percentage need to be less for us to be profitable, right? So if you, but again, you don't have to use this. You can say add after a loss. Nope, false, don't do it. But the numbers are going to look very, very different, right? If you just keep that same trade size all the time, which you can do, you can definitely do. We're definitely not going to benefit from those times. There's certainly going to be times, guys. I want everybody to understand that this robot is going to take plenty of losses, right? But it's set up to take losses and handle them with incredible amounts of grace, right? So if we get stopped out on a trade, it's going to add another trade with a slightly smaller trade size, or excuse me, a slightly larger trade size. And that means, if you get stopped out at 50 pips twice, right, by the third trade, if that's the winning trade, you're going to be in a larger trade size, and it is not going to need to go very far for you to get back to break even. And if it goes even further, then it just makes it that much easier to get profitable. Percent increase after. So what I recommend, what would I recommend for the percent increase? Run some tests, guys. That's what's beautiful about this thing is you can say, what do I feel comfortable with? Because if you run a test on here, let's just say, for example, we'll just say, let's run a test here. Let's say we're going to put this at 50 cents a pip, just for the heck of it, right? 50 cents a pip, 0.05, and we're going to add to this thing at 50 cents a pip. So our next trade is going to be $1 a pip. The next trade will be $1.50 a pip. The next trade will be $2 a pip, right? So it's not doubling. It's just adding this on every trade. And we'll just say, hey, we'll leave this thing at 2. We'll leave this thing at 50 pips, right? 50 pips of stop loss above or below our moving average. So we'll go over here. Let's just put this on long and short. I'm just going to run a total random currency pair. For some reason, I have pound dollar on the brain, right? Now, it's important. I'm going to tell you guys definitely some super important stuff. Let's look at pound dollar just for the heck of it. We're going to, there's going to be times where we miss big trades because we're on too large of a time frame and we need to be on a smaller time frame. There's going to be times where smaller time frames are not going to be so profitable. We find that kind of the slightly larger time frames, maybe the maybe the 15 and 30-minute profit, or excuse me, time frames work really well for running this, but you're going to find in your tests that things can change quite a bit, right? We can see things, you know, fluctuate quite a bit on that 15-minute chart, and I'll show you some examples. Let's go back to, you know, remember the market went bananas, obviously in, you know, late February and all through March. It was just total madness. So let's run some tests and let's see how these numbers vary a little bit. Greg, good question. Curious about the profit target. Is it 2 to 1? Yes, yes. Profit target is 2 to 1. So that's just meaning, you know, again, when we put a trade on, if we put a trade on the 15-minute chart here, and you and this gets in, let's just say it gets in right, you know, here. Gets in right here. It's going to look at that 200 moving average and say that's 20 pips away. And then we're saying, well, let's put that stop loss 30 pips beyond the 200 moving average. So that's going to give us a 50 pip stop loss, right? Or maybe we say put it 50 pips beyond the moving average. So that's going to give us a 70 pip stop loss. So whatever that stop loss is, that profit target is going to be double, right? It's going to be double. So that's just a setting though. It doesn't have to be double. It can be, you can make it 1 to 1. But if we have 2 to 1, we only need to be successful in our trades about 33% of the time. So that's pretty great. So we're winning twice as large as we're losing. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, let's see, John. Did I miss something? Normally we add another trade as it goes against us. Is that function available? I don't have lost for any trade. So yes, John, it's a good question. That function is available. Here's the problem. The way that this manages this, and I'm looking at this and I'm kind of working on this and so on, we can do that, right? This can add multiple trades. So if we say max trades, for example, maximum number of trades, true, and we say make it 2 trades, right? Make it 3 trades, whatever we want it to do. That is something we can use. The problem that happens for those here in the lovely United States of America is we start to have FIFO problems, right? Because this robot, the way that it works and the way that we kind of manage these trades, and there's some workarounds, and we'll get this probably programmed in and function and put into the robot in the very near future. But the way that works is because of how U.S. brokers are. We can't put stop losses in there, and we have to program all the order in that this closes out. So for non-US people, you can definitely use it. You can have multiple trades put on here. But yes, it is available to use on here. But for non-US people, you can use it. US people, you can't really use it unless you're manually managing the trade. It can take the entries for you, but you'll have to manually manage the trade and watch it yourself. Yes. Yes. Yep. Rick, still confused about the trading window. Why not set true as default to limit the hours? Or do you like to turn it off and close trades out? Rick, that's just a default. You can change it to whatever you want. What we're, it's a click of a button. So it's set as a default, but it's a click of a button. You can change it by clicking one button. I have mine set because, maybe markets are going nuts, and, I like the control a little bit, right? If markets are going crazy and I say, I want to let this thing keep trading, and I forget that it's automatically set to not continue to trade, then I'm going to miss trades. So I have it set as continue to take trades so that, I can say, hey, it's a slow morning, I'm turning it off, right? So it's a default. That's it. Okay, let's see here. Okay, there we go. Everyone good so far? Let's run this pound dollar from, we'll just see how it does. February to the current on the 15-minute chart. It's looking for long and shorts. It's kind of doing all that. Everything's just, it's just running, right? Adding trade sizes. I can't remember if I just adjusted the trade sizes. We were sitting here talking. But we'll see what this does. We'll see how this behaves. And this is where, now, of course, you know, we're not going to turn this thing on and forget about it for 3 months. So, so that's kind of something to peek at. But look what this thing did, just kind of looking for trades and doing its own thing over the last couple of months, right? We made trading, I forgot what our trade size was. This made $1,957 over 62 trades, right? With a profit factor of 2.16, meaning, you know, we're making about $2.16 for every dollar we lose, right? So this made us $1,957. You can see, you know, it did pretty well. And I'm pretty sure, let's look at our trade sizes here. Okay, so we left this, I forgot what we had put this at. We left this at 50 cents a pip. So these are all 50 cent a pip trades on the pound dollar, just kind of letting it run. And see this right here, it got stopped out plenty of times, right? Got stopped out, so it went in at $1 a pip. It gets stopped out, it goes in at $1.50 a pip, right? Those are all $1.50 a pips. Now these aren't all new trades. This is the robot, you know, moving the trailing stop and so on. But you can see here, so every time, so you can see, oh, there's our large trade size at 0.2. That means it got stopped out 4 times. We started at 50 cents a pip, it came back at $1, came back at $1.50, and then $2. So that was 4 stop outs. And let's see, do we get bigger? Oh, there's 5 stop outs, right? So it got up to 0.25. Do we get anything bigger than 0.25? This is running it on the 15-minute chart. I don't think so. I think oh, never mind. We get some 0.3s and some 0.4s, right? So this is getting stopped out a couple of times. But this is kind of what the robot does, right? It's made to handle stop outs. If we get up to that 0.4, that's 8 stop outs, right? We have this thing set to allow us to get stopped out 10 times before it resets that bar count. It got stopped out 8 times here. That gets us up to a 0.4 trade size. But I want to demonstrate this so that you guys can see this does take losses. It definitely takes losses. But as it takes losses, though, you know, we come back with larger trade sizes and it comes back more profitable. So that's why our graph looks like this. It started off, we got some stop outs, some stop outs, some stop outs, some stop outs. This is called real life trading, right? We're getting stopped out, but it's ultimately getting higher. And our final result is almost $2,000 in profit from just letting this run at 50 cents a pip, starting trade size over the last couple of months. So pretty cool to kind of see how that works. You can see that we were profitable 40% of the time. Profitable on 40% of the trades. That's pretty awesome, right? That's pretty amazing that it only has to be profitable about 40% of the time for us to make that kind of money. We're wrong 60% of the time, right? Not wrong, but we're getting stopped out 60% of the time. So that's the thing that it does. Mick, that's a very good question, right? Does it work better on more volatile pairs? More volatility can typically be good because what we want the robot to be doing is working on things that are moving, right? If something is very sideways and very choppy, it's not going to be super awesome on that. Now, because of how our trade situation goes, right? Because this is increasing the trade size with every stop out, even very low volatility pairs that get stopped out, and then ultimately make a move, yeah, they're going to get stopped out more often because they're low volatility and they're not doing a whole bunch. And then, you know, and then we get a breakout, right? We get a breakout and we get a big move. So yeah, so that's kind of how it goes. So to give you kind of a little bit of a look here, you know, going back, let's just get a visual of this chart here. We were on the pound dollar, right? I think we were on the pound dollar. So let's look at the pound dollar and just see how it looks. We did February 1st, right? I think we did February 1st. Let's go to the daily chart. Here's February 1st on pound dollar. So just approximately here, right? Right about there. Chop, 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 chop. Obviously, huge movement, big pullback, chop, 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 right? So it had a big move and then, you know, got kind of messy. What does the pound yen look like? Somebody's Andre asking about the pound yen. We can definitely go run it on the pound yen. And again, guys, we're not, we're typically not going to be letting this robot just run and run and run, right? But pound yen, again, we've got, some chop, big pull, big dip, big pullback, chop, chop, chop. Let's see how it looks on the pound yen if we just set this thing and forgot it for all the way back to that February 1st. How does the pound yen look? I don't even know the answer to this question. Okay, so 2-1, February 1st, 15-minute chart, all the good stuff. How does the pound yen do? It's long and short, it's buying and selling. Now, some of these moves, like on the pound yen, right? Some of these moves are so aggressive, they don't give us a pullback and they don't give us entry. So if we're on a 15-minute chart, we might miss a lot of this movement down, right? And so that's why we don't just set it and forget it for long terms. We look every day and we say, today it needs to be on a 5-minute chart because this is an aggressive moving market. I want to make sure I get an entry. Today we want to put it on the 30-minute chart. So, these kinds of things need to be taken into consideration. It wouldn't be impossible to see the pound yen not make money on this whole move down because it was too aggressive of a move for the time frame that we're on. And that's why we need to be looking at it and setting it and resetting it every day. Every day, every day. How did the pound yen? The suspense is killing me. It's killing me. Ooh, the pound yen made some money. It lost some money. It kind of looks like we ended up 50 cents a pip, letting it run down $800, right? It was right. It was right 30% of the time. But we probably missed a lot of that movement right there. A lot of that movement. So again, long-term movements need to be adjusted on a daily basis. Now we can look at this and we can say, well, how did the pound yen do with, and this is why I love running these tests, right? How did it do with short only trades? Did we do better if we were just saying, hey, this is something we want to sell only. We don't want to do any buying on the pound yen. So we can look at these things, and this is why our kind of day-to-day bias is so important, because we need to know what the market's doing and where to set the robot for that, which is awesome. Again, we're not just going to turn this thing on for 3 months and forget about it. We're going to adjust it and look at it every single day. And again, we're going to need to look at it on different time frames. On my test this week, I was looking at a couple of pairs, and I said, well, I think that I think that this thing is running more aggressively. So I actually ran it on a 1-minute chart. So I thought, man, this thing is just cranking. I'm just going to run it on a 1-minute chart. And so, it's really kind of depends on just what the market's doing. So pound yen still 15-minute chart, lost money, and we can run some tests, right? We can say, well, is it doing better on the 5-minute chart? Is it doing better on some of those? And that's why I like to just kind of find the trade I want to take and let it run, let it scoot. Okay, so, and that's, and again, run these tests, get familiar. I don't know how reliable my data is going back to February on a 5-minute chart, so this may not be the most reliable, but we want to look at these things and we want to say, okay, here's certain scenarios where this is, working better, doing better, giving us better results over, medium amounts of time. But again, this won't run over 2 or 3 month periods. It's going to run over a 1 or 2 day period, or maybe even a week period. So this strategy tester, I super strongly recommend anybody to use this. Jump on here and just start to get a feel for what this thing is doing, how it's looking, right? If we see, okay, long periods of time, maybe I don't want to trade some of these things because over the long haul they don't do well, right? If you look at the pound yen, you say, over a 2 or 3 month period, this is not doing awesome. But if there's a great setup that I want to trade today, or a great direction that I feel like I want to trade this week, great. We put it on sell only for this week, and it does awesome. We get these big kinds of movements, these big bullish runs or big bearish runs. But some of these are just so choppy that through these sideways activity, they don't do a lot. But eventually, everything breaks out and gives us some nice moves and can give us some really great profits. So that's what's awesome. Kevin, what do you think about turning it on only for UK sessions, assist with hours, you're catching Z's, and switching it off when awake? I still like it on when I'm awake because it will still look for trades that I might miss, right? Because I might have it on 4 or 5 pairs, right? But I do like the idea of it not taking new trades during the daytime. And that's where, pretty much anytime we're getting losses on this, especially like the pound yen, like a string of losses, for example, is because we're letting it run through real sideways choppy markets, right? And that's not how we trade. If we look at something and we say, okay, here's the pound yen, and we've looked at this a bunch in the group, right? And we look at it and we say, okay, what do we want to have happen? Do we want to be bullish above a certain level, bearish below a certain level? And once it gets there, it's great to just turn the robot on and let it run. So yes, you could turn it off while you're awake, but it's going to do pretty consistently a better job at managing trades than we are. Again, it's just going to take one trade at a time. So it's not going to have 20 trades running or 50 trades running. You're not going to be able to keep track of it. It's just going to have a trade at a time running. And so if we look at, for example, anything that we want to be bullish or anything that we want to be bearish, turn it on to that direction only and let it run, let it do its thing. How many times do we get into a trade and it goes against us and we don't know what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to behave with it? This will just take a lot of that guesswork out of it, right? But we do need to analyze the charts. And that's, again, why I love this robot so much, is because it's not proclaiming to be a set and forget robot that you don't have to do anything with. Yes, some pairs it does really great over the long haul. If we put it on the pound dollar and just let it run for 3 months, it makes us $2,000. We put it on the pound yen for the long haul, it loses us $800, right? Okay, so if you had those two pairs running, you're still ahead of the game. You're still, up $1,200. But that's not what we're going to do, right? We're going to put this on a daily basis and watch it and manage it. And it did awesome for me this week. This week I was trading some pretty sideways pairs, right? I was doing a little bit on the pound CAD. It stopped me out a couple times on the pound CAD. I took losses, but then got a little bit of a run and it made me some money and it made back my losses and put me into a little bit of profit. Euro dollar gave me a little bit of a run on euro dollar. Pound yen, I think I got stopped out twice on the pound yen this week and then got a bit of a move and made some bucks on it. So it's just one of those things that we let it run. The CAD yen, I had it running on the CAD yen. I got stopped out at least once this week on CAD yen and made my money back and then some. So it's really awesome for that. It's great to just kind of let it run, but it's always going to have to go with our analysis, with what we're talking about. Okay, is everyone clear on that? Does anybody have any more questions, comments, thoughts? And remember, guys, we can run this thing on short time frames. We can run it on long time frames. We can kind of let it play out depending on what the market condition is, right? If we're pretty anxious and pretty aggressive about getting back into a currency pair that seems to be running, then maybe we put it on the 5-minute chart. Maybe we put it on the 1-minute chart, and it gets us more aggressive entries because we're saying, hey, I just want to trade this. Things are moving. This looks like it's making a run, and maybe I just want to let it run for an hour or two and jump out and be done with it, right? So we're going to be adjusting time frames. We're going to be adjusting direction. We're going to be adjusting all kinds of things every day. Okay, questions. Will this cause a margin call with so many positions at the same time? That's a good question, Bo. We just have to make sure that whatever your account size is, that you don't put too many trades on. Remember, this thing has a setting to say how many trades do you want to let this continue to increase. If you know you have $5,000 or $10,000, you're probably pretty safe letting this run up to 10 losses, right? Which would, and starting at a small size, which might be 10 cents a pip. And you say, let it run up to 10 losses, and then you're in $1 a pip, right? And if you did that on 5 currency pairs, could your account handle $5 a pip if you got 10 stop outs and you're on your 10th trade on 5 different currency pairs and you're in $1 a pip? Yeah. So you just have to do the math. You just have to say how much is in my account and what is my maximum trade size. So if you want to start at a larger trade size, as we can see on here, you can run through a ton of tests. And like that pound dollar trade we looked at, we got stopped out up to 8 times, right? So you can run tests. You can say, well, the pairs I'm looking at typically don't get stopped out more than 5 or 6. So maybe you say, let my max loss go to 8 and reset after 8 instead of after 10. And then you can determine what your max trade size is there. So it's not too hard. So, if you have a smaller account, just keep it on 1 pair at a time. Have it do 1 trade on 1 pair at a time, or 2 trades and 2 pairs at a time, So, yep, and that's what I'm saying. This robot will not run away without you, right? All of a sudden you have 50 trades open and you don't know how it happened, you get a margin call. Nope, it runs one trade at a time, and it goes as large as you let it go, or as large as you tell it to go. And if that extra large size is 50 cents a pip because you don't want to worry about a margin call or taking too big of a loss, then that's what you tell it to do. So that's where I've been pretty nervous about robots in the past that add a lot of multiple positions and have a lot of different things going, because all of a sudden, I wake up in the morning and I have 20 trades running and I don't know what's going on and all that. That makes me nervous. And that's exactly what this robot does not do, which is awesome. Andre, can you manage the EA through a mobile tablet device, or do I have to have it be on a PC? So, Andre, the robot needs to run on a VPS. You can log into VPSs from your cell phone. You can log into a VPS from your iPad. It's just a little bit awkward to do. I haven't done it in a long time, and maybe it's gotten better. But I've logged into VPSs from a tablet before, and it's kind of strange with a touch screen, but it can be done. It can be done. So, and again, this isn't something that you have to watch every second of every day. If you want to put these trades on in the morning and let this run and then check it at lunch, you're probably going to be okay for that. So, it won't be too bad. So, yep. This seems to change the style of the 200 EA because we stop out the losers instead of letting the drawdown increase. Okay, good, Andre. Got a free VPS from Wanda. Awesome. Mel, so as far as our typical 200 EMA trades go, where we're trading back to it, this gives us room around the 200 EMA, right? Because remember, the whole goal of the 200 EMA is this is our trend. This is the trend that's happening now. And of course, in the scanner group and so on, and those scanner type trades where we're saying something is really, really far away from the 200 EMA, and we're trading back to it, the robot does a great job at that as well. But we're using the 200 EMA for trend and for direction. This robot's great for trend. That's what it's really awesome for. And that's what we've been trying to get a little bit more of, right? How can we get these trends a little bit more, something that's just running up and up and up? How can I jump on a little bit more of these long-term trends? And that's what the robot will do for us. Does that answer your question, Mel? And the other thing is it's going to help us manage risk better. Instead of letting drawdowns go on for long periods of time, it'll stop it out and just wait for another signal to get in with a slightly larger trade size, so that your drawdown doesn't have to. We've had some trades. We've definitely had some trades. The markets go crazy with coronavirus, and we had some trades that got into some drawdown. And the robot won't let that happen, which is a good thing. Which is definitely a good thing. Greg, yes, you can run through a computer. I have the robot on my computer and then remote into it. DPS would be easier. Yep. Yeah, exactly, Greg. Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to be remoting into your computer. Just have it on a VPS and log in from wherever you are. Absolutely. Yes, exactly, Mel. Yeah, exactly. So it'll take out, waiting for some of these trades to play out for so long. It'll just stop them out. And I'll be honest, I hate stopping out of a trade on my own. I hate closing a trade in a loss and saying, okay, am I going to be able to get back into this, at a good enough area and so on. And that's why I trade small and I add to my positions. But the robot is not going to be affected, right? If it gets stopped out during a big move overnight and then we get another signal for it to take another trade, it just does it. It doesn't think about it. It just does it. And that's awesome. Okay, guys, other questions, other comments? What do you guys think? How does everybody feel about that? Is it clear how this runs, what this should do, so on and so forth? How are you guys feeling about all that? So again, as we've seen here, the robot, we let it run for long periods of time. Over long periods, it's not making us money on our default settings there on the pound yen. It is making us plenty of money on the pound dollar. There's going to be pairs where it doesn't make a lot of money on the long term, and pairs where it makes a lot of money on the long term, and pairs where it takes losses over the long term. We're not letting this run long term. We're going to let this run day at a time. We might let it run all week long in certain cases on certain pairs. But it's going to do awesome when we know what direction we want to trade. If I'm looking at this right here and I say, holy smokes, you know, this is a great little area on the pound yen, right? And I'm looking at these zones right here and I'm saying, man, I want to trade this pound yen, but whoopsie. But you know, how am I gonna catch this movement, right? I'm seeing, you know, I'm seeing some good things happening. I'm seeing bear flags. I'm seeing trend lines I want to trade the break up. How am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to turn the robot on, and the robot's going to say, okay, sell only. How about we catch this movement right here, right? And we make that move. So for example, let's say that we're watching the pound yen, or excuse me, this is CAD yen, sorry. We're watching the CAD yen right here, and I say, okay, how's this CAD yen doing? You know, what's this thing doing? I want to trade this down. How's it behaving here? And so if I just go back, for example, on say maybe what is this, May 20th? Let's just say we go to the beginning of the week. I don't even know what the beginning of the week is. What is it? Well, I guess I don't have to know. So we'll just say CAD yen 15-minute chart. How is this thing going to do? Is it going to be able to catch some trades for me if I just were to turn this on all week and basically forget about it? I think that's the CAD yen down. Hold on here. And this is the stuff that we want to be looking at, right? How does it do on the 15-minute chart if I go back to the beginning of the week? If I trade this thing, what's the beginning of the week? 17th. And I say, okay, CAD yen, sell only. How are we going to do on a sell only trade if I were to leave this on for the whole week and it's just a little sell only trade? Woo! We take a little loss, right? 14 bucks. If I have that on sell only. Now, this is where we start looking at these things, right? And we say, well, how's this going to work? Is this more of a short-term trade? Do I want to be looking at this? How's it going to do on a 5-minute chart? Oh, different result, right? We start looking at these details and we start doing some testing. It only took 2 trades, you know, made a couple of bucks. What's our result? And never got much beyond our one stop out, and then the next trade was the winner, right? So these are the kinds of things that we're going to look at, we're going to test, we're going to be watching. But this is, you know, there's clear markets that we don't want to trade that are not going to be very awesome for us, right? And so we're going to stay away from those. We're not turning the robot onto everything. We're going to have it on 1 or 2 or 3 currency pairs every week. We're going to let it run, and it's going to do great for us. So this will be great, guys. I'm looking really forward to trading this with everybody. I think it's going to be a great way for, especially our poor Aussie folk that, you know, I'm probably most active in the chat when it's middle of the night for you guys. So you can put these on and you can just let it run. Just let it run. And let it run for, you know, through the London and the US session, for example, and we'll turn it off. And you can put those features in there to say, you know, and again, for the Aussie folk, for example, that might think to themselves, I don't want this thing to be taking new trades during the quiet time of day. And the quiet time of day is what, right? Maybe 10 a.m. for me, things start to get kind of boring. Noon, things start to get kind of boring. So we say, yeah, stop this from taking any new trades so that, you know, the Aussies, for example, don't have to get up in the middle of the night and turn this off and stop it from taking a trade during the, you know, the quiet hours. We can say, yeah, stop taking a trade, you know, broker time. What's the calmest time? Broker time. Stop trading then. And then it'll be awesome. Okay, so Manjit, just a reminder, how do we switch it off? A whole bunch of ways you can do that. So you can switch the robot off by just removing the chart that it's on. If it's managing other trades, right, then you know, then you can just go into the individual trade that it's on and say, you know, stop taking a trade between these hours. If you turn off auto trading and it's managing a trade for you, it'll stop managing the trade. So typically, if you want it to go off, if you don't have any other trades running, you just turn off auto trading, right? That means auto trading's on. That means auto trading's off. If it's on a currency pair that's kind of done its thing, but you're letting it manage on another trade, just close that chart out. So you can also just remove it from the chart. So you just right click and go to, I don't have it on here, but you would just go right here and go to EA properties and remove it from that individual chart. So there's a couple of ways you can turn it off. It's a good question. We'll talk about that. Does that make sense? Does that help? Just remove the chart, turn it off if you're done, or just remove it from the chart. Will MT4 and VPS setup instructions be sent out, or how is best to set them up? Yes. So that takes me to my next point here, guys. This is where everybody can get the robot, and I'll show you what comes with all of this. DTFX.co/the-robot. Actually, just /robot. So you can see it right there. I'll paste it in there for everybody. That's where you get the robot. Give you a couple of details about what we're going to be doing with this. Once you buy it, and the big question's coming, it will be $149. The robot is 149 smackaroonies. So once you purchase the robot, you'll be prompted to obviously set up your account after you've paid in this robot area. And so once you have done that, you can log in right here. And, I've set up my account because I've also set up the web page. This will allow you to download. Here's our indicator download. There's the robot. There's an indicator that needs to run in the background. There's explanations for why that is. And then here's a template so that your charts can look kind of like mine, where the robot's running. And then there's video tutorials. How to set up a VPS on a PC. How to install the robot on your MT4, how to configure your robot, and how to set up a VPS on a Mac. So those are all good there. John, yes, it can be used on more than one account. Oh, let's see here. Hold on, I missed some questions. And then I'll get back to your questions in a second. And then webinar recording. So from last week, I've posted on there. This webinar will be posted as well. And you can kind of just see, everybody can kind of go through and review these webinars and kind of get a, get a feel for kind of what we're doing and so on. So lots of videos on, here's all the indicator downloads here. So download the indicators, get everything going and so on. Pretty easy to follow there. And then our videos on how to set up a VPS, how to set up, all those details, how to configure the robot, everything. So, and then we'll do more webinars about it and kind of get it all going and so on. Let's see. Okay, questions. Okay, what's the requirement for an entry once we find a direction of trend? Yes, that's a good question. John, yes, can be used on more than one account. Yes, can be used on more than one account. Yes, we can buy it, but what's the John? I've struggled. It's still called the little helper. I'm struggling, so that's why I just call it the robot. The robot. I need a snazzy name. Nothing has clicked for me yet. Nothing's clicked for me yet. Does the indicator need to run or just be available? Does the indicator need to run or just be available? Mel, I'm not sure. Give me a little bit more on that. I'm not sure what you're asking there. Bo, $149 for the robot. 149 bucks. So Mick, that's a good question. What are the requirements of an entry once we find a trend? And that's a good question here. What this does, let's go back over here for a moment. What this looks at in the template here that I've posted in the members area is this, right? Is this guy right here. You can see that we have the 200 moving average, and this is the 34. We've done a little bit of testing with the 30, the 34, the 40, the 50, the 20, and so on, and kind of these 30s seem to be the most effective. So once we find a trend, once this thing is running and doing what we what we want it to do, if it's below the 200 moving average, then what it will look for is a pullback above that 34 moving average and then a close below the 34 moving average. So if we turn the robot on right here, it would only be looking for sell trades below the 200 moving average and buy trades above the 200 moving average. And so what it does for entry is it pulls back above that 34 moving average, and then once it opens back down below, it takes that sell entry right there. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how it works. It's a pretty great little program to use there. JJ's little pip squeezer. Karen, you always have good stuff. You always have good stuff. That's hilarious. No, Bo, no monthly fees. I mean, it's going to be something we use in the group, right? So it's a one-time fee of $149, and then we will talk about it and set it daily in the group. So there's a monthly fee or annual fee for the group, so that we can run it to its best ability. But the robot itself, nope, just one-time fee there. If the EA is accessing the indicator using iCustom, then it just needs to be available in MT4. It does not need to be on the chart. Yes, okay, gotcha. It's starting to sound like a little bit above my pay grade, but I got you. Okay, Mick, good. Okay, Craig already bought it. I love it, excellent. On most VPSs, you want as little as possible running. Yes, that's true. That's true. Okay, I got you. So you're talking about how much is it going to use on a VPS? I got you. Okay, Bo, that's a good question. Are updates included? I will include, like, you know, 1 or 2 updates will be included with this. You know, when we add a feature or function, you know, make something work a little bit better, that's going to be included. But there will be times where there's like a version 2 of the robot, right, where it really is doing some extra big things that it wasn't doing before. And there will be an upgrade fee for that. It'll be pretty nominal, you know, maybe like a $50 upgrade fee, because those are expensive programming details. So I won't just, you know, continue pouring money into it and then give it out. So every time there's, you know, any kind of medium to large update, then you know, there will be a small fee associated with that, but I'll make sure that it's pretty reasonable. And by the way, I'm selling the robot for this, you know, I was thinking, you know, $200, $250. I mean, it's amazing, and it's going to make everybody a good amount of money. I will probably be setting up a course that for those that want to just use the robot on their own, and that'll probably be around $500 for that course. So you guys are in the group. You're getting a massive discount on the robot itself. And it's going to be awesome. And I'll be in the group, obviously guiding everybody through this whole process, which is going to be super cool. Okay. How's everybody feel about that? Any questions? How's everything looking? What do you guys think there? Everything sounding good so far? Everything making sense? Does anybody have any questions? It's going to be a great robot. It's going to do super awesome. I know some people are going to be a little apprehensive. How hard is it going to be to set up a VPS? How hard is it going to be to run the robot? If you spend a couple of minutes and watch the videos on how to set up a VPS, how to set up the robot, it is as easy. Once you get through kind of the initial stuff, it's as easy as setting up a trade itself. It's that easy. Setting up the robot takes me the same time as it takes to set up a whole entire, just a trade on its own, right? Put a stop loss in and a take profit. It's already got all that stuff in there for me. So, it's super easy to do. So anybody that's feeling technologically overwhelmed by this, don't, because it's really, really, really not hard to use. It's really not hard to use. The recommendations will come with time frame and everything through the group. Yes, Andre, that's correct. Yep, it is absolutely correct. So, you know, the night before or the morning of, I'm going to say I've got the robot running on, you know, the pound dollar sell only 15-minute chart, or pound dollar sell only 5-minute chart, or whatever, right? And you know, and I'll tell everyone to turn it off. And if there's a trade that we're in that, you know, it's 50 pips of our 100 pip profit target, and we're saying, hey, this is a quiet time of day, I'm going to close it out, I'm going to take the 50 pips, right? I'll be advising on all of that. So make sure that everybody gets all the right details, and and just is able to kind of follow that along. That should be or that will be included with everything, because you guys are all in my trade groups. So that will not be included for people that just buy the robot on its own. You won't get my trade recommendations, you won't get my ideas and so on, but that doesn't apply to you guys because you're in the trade group, so it's all right. Patty, clear as mud right now. I'll become more clear as I get deeper into this. Yes, yes, yes. Yep, art, Patty. Yep, we're just gonna, it'll be super easy to use. You guys won't have any trouble with it. And if you do, that's why I'm here. I'll be here and happy to help with everything. Good, JP, good. All right, it's gonna be awesome to test and work on, and I'm gonna be posting more videos and more details about this. That's gonna be awesome. James, yeah, some guidance. Yep, that's why we're here, guys. That's why this is gonna be all done through the trade group, because we're gonna need to know, when does it need to be on a shorter term time frame? When does it need to be on buy only or sell only? When do we need to get out of a trade early and not let it run to the profit target or potentially be in profit and turn around and go against us? When are all those things gonna happen? And so I'll be advising on that within the trade group. And the great thing is we're all gonna get the same entries. So it's gonna be very easy. You know, a lot of people say, oh, darn it, I missed the trade, I wasn't there, whatever. We're all going to get the same entries. So it's going to be very, very easy to follow along with all this. Yes, I posted the link already, and I'll post it again. It's that guy right there. So if anybody hasn't gotten the link or gotten to any of that, it's just dtfx.co/robot. So that's all you got to do, and that'll take you right there. That guy right there, dtfx.co/robot. So yep, go download away. My phone's blowing up, so it sounds like people are finding it and buying it and going for it. So that's awesome. Very happy. Guys, once you get it set up and running, if you have any questions, you can obviously send me a message in Telegram. You can also send a message to support@DayTradersFX, and Joy will get to that, and she'll of course contact me about anything. Rob, I want to plan on using it as soon as possible. I mean, I'm using it, but I'd like to get the group using it, you know, as early as Monday. But if everybody is not set up on VPSs, or if they're not feeling comfortable or confident about how this works, then, you know, we'll be using it next week. But if people need a little bit more time than Monday, like maybe we start using it more group wide by Wednesday, something like that, that's fine. That's okay. So yes, Monday is a holiday. I'll probably still do the webinar just because we have this robot and everything kind of running. So I'll probably still do the webinar for Monday. What am I going to do? Sleep in all day? It doesn't do anybody any good, right? I'll sleep when I'm dead. So yes. What is all? Yeah, right. What is a holiday? What is this Monday anyways? Is it Memorial Day? Memorial Day? This Monday? I don't know. So, but yes, guys, I'd like to get this running in the group as soon as possible next week. ASAP next week. I would like to get this going. So, yep. Okay, guys. Any other thoughts? Any other questions? Anything else? Anything, guys and gals? So I'm excited to get this running. Obviously, we have some scanner group people here. We have some premium group people here. This is going to work. I traded this on a scanner trade. I've done it on several scanner trades. I traded on scanner trade this week, and it did awesome, which was super cool. So yeah, it's gonna work on all these details. So. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Any questions, any comments? Good, Vince, awesome. There's a link again, guys. There's a link, dtfx.co/robot. I'll post this recording, and I'm gonna post the link once again as well in all the chats. So get in there. Once you get into that members area, I would just recommend everybody, you know, log in and start start going through the video tutorials. I tried to make them short. You know, some of them are 10 and 15 minutes long. Some are only 5 minutes long. But if anybody has any questions about anything, we'll do more webinars. We'll make sure that everybody's up to speed, that everything's making sense. Okay? Does that sound good, guys? Everyone okay with all that? Any questions I can answer before we wrap it up this morning? Any questions before we wrap up? Anything at all? Yes, Ryan. I'll have that posted later this morning. But yes, yeah, I'll have it posted. Guys, a couple of go-tos. You know, what I've been looking for is cheap VPSs, right? I've been looking for inexpensive VPSs. And there are a few. By the way, does everybody know about this? I haven't really been able to get this to work, but I'm curious about if anybody is using this. Have you guys seen this right here? If you go up to register a virtual server on your MetaTrader, so right next to auto trading, it's this little button right here. If you click on this, they'll give you a server for 15 bucks a month, but I haven't really gotten it to work. They're giving me like some sort of weird free trial of 1,440 minutes or something. And I didn't really get it to work, but that is something to look at. So you can go click on that. Again, that's this button right up here. I don't know if that is, I don't know if that's a great option. Plenty of other sites to look at. You know, this is always kind of a go-to. These are, I would say, these guys are the premium VPS people, but they're also the most expensive. Not the most expensive, but they're a little bit on the expensive side. Okay, John, good, yeah, and guys, if you have a large enough account with your broker, they'll give you a free VPS, and most brokers are $5,000 to $10,000 minimums. It just depends on, or if it's not a minimum, then it's a certain amount of trades taken every month, kind of thing. So check with your broker before you pay for anything. If you have enough money in your account, then you can let it run. If not, you know, you'll have to pay for one. Beaks is good. Beaks is a great one. You know, you get the 27 pound a month account, which is, you know, 30 some dollars. I have Host Wins, and they stink, but you know, there's one to use. Here's one to use right here. Let's see here, domains. Where are these guys? There's something on these guys. You know, so there's a bunch of them. I'll get these posted for everybody. Trying to think of where their link was. I found this. Oh, dedicated servers. Anyway, there's a bunch out there. There's tons and tons of VPS providers. Find something that, you know, is fairly inexpensive. Check with your broker first. CNS is another one. I think they're these guys right here, CNS Commercial Network Services. So you can get a you know, Trader's Desktop. They have their free VPS thing, and you can check with brokers and so on to see if they offer something there. But these guys are, you know, 20 bucks a month, $35 a month, that kind of stuff. So, you know, just check some of these out. There's lots of VPSs out there. Okay, good, James. You have Beaks. Yeah, Beaks is probably the best. They're great. Chicago VPS. I mean, there's just 1,000 of them out there. Beaks is good because it restarts automatically after Windows updates. Yeah, that's great. AWS, Amazon offers free trial and server, but you need to create and essentially remote it. Yep. And yeah, there's a bunch there. There's a bunch of options, but I'll have more posted. So just you can just Google Forex VPS, FX VPS, MetaTrader 4 VPS. There's tons of options there, but I'll post more links in that members area in just a couple of moments. Okay, guys, that's it for me. Questions, comments, thoughts? Greg, good question. VPSs have kind of limited capability. If you have like a one CPU, you know, you should be able to run 2 VPSs or 2 MetaTrader 4s on there. Too much more than that, it might start to slow down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think the one I have right now is a one core CPU, and I run 2 MetaTraders on it, and it's fine. So yeah, I mean, you can run as much as you want on there. It's just if you start to notice that it's slowing down a lot, then you might need to upgrade your VPS. Okay. Does that help everyone? Other questions, other comments, please don't hesitate. This is a great time to ask any questions you can think of. Any questions, just let me know. Great time for it. Everyone feel good about all that? Any final thoughts? Okay. Get that robot going, get through those videos, get as familiarized with it as you can between now and next week. And we're going to let this puppy run and do some trades for us. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it. So it's going to be a really, really good tool, really great for everything that we need. So yep, that's right. Busy weekend ahead. We got a lot of cool stuff to figure out here. So we'll go for it. Thanks, everybody. Lovely to see you all. And we should have a fun, exciting trading week next week. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. If you have any questions, send me a message on Telegram. Best to send an email to support@daytradersfx.com, and we'll get things going from there. But you can also send me a message on Telegram, and I'll try to get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you all. Have a good one. Take care, guys.